The Witcher 3 was released on May 19th, 2015, to nearly universal critical acclaim, and its effect on gaming since has been nothing short of insane. But what made it stand out then, and why does it still serve as a major comparison for many AAA studios of today? We're going to dive into that in today's video. What made The Witcher 3 special? A video essay. Kinda. Like I said before, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was released 5 years ago into a busy year for gaming, 2015. In a time where the market was flooded with huge AAA shooters and system sellers, Skyrim was already 3 years old, and fans of the open world RPG genre were hungry for a new game. Luckily, The Witcher 3 seemed to be the solution to this problem. The gameplay shown at E3 2013 and 2014 proved to only stir up hype for the game, and its drastic innovation from previous entries in the series only added to the excitement. It was explained to be massive in scope and scale, filled to the brim with side activities, and have a map that felt lived in. All that was left was to see if the game lived up to its hype. Let's first start off with graphics. I mean, this game blows some current releases out of the water. Whether you're venturing through the icy, unforgiving mountains of Skellige, exploring the city streets of Novigrad, or traveling through the depths of Crookback Bog, the game always delivers a clean and genuinely artistic image. Fighting atop cliff sides at daybreak and exploring the meadows of the surrounding Novigrad area at sunset are pure proof of the game's graphical excellence. The weather system adds depth and the lighting responds accordingly, casting shadows and shafts of light through heavily wooded areas. The characters too have pores and individual strands of hair, with Geralt himself looking incredible thanks to NVIDIA Hairworks on PC, a high quality character model, and armor and weapons that interact with movement. These areas are typically where massive open world games fail to stack up to other, more simple titles in the industry. But The Witcher looks immaculately detailed for a game already 5 years old. But it's not just graphics that set this game apart, it's the interaction. Characters can be seen washing their clothes in the river, scrubbing decks, and nailing in new additions to towns. The children play and talk about current political affairs, quoting and misquoting the current situations with this believable dialogue. The characters all react to Geralt as well. Accurately to the books, witches are strange mutants who are commonly discriminated against. This translates into more than just annoyed looks from the average passerby, as characters will criticize Geralt, calling him unique names and generally treating him differently than they would a normal human. But that's only the visual side of things. The story never has a dull moment, and with writing that entices the player and keeps them informed but curious, it's easy to see why. It's not a super complex story, with Geralt fighting a major threat known as the Wild Hunt to ensure the safety of his adoptive daughter Ciri, but it's just executed so well. I know this is often cited during reviews or similar videos, but the Bloody Baron questline is a prime example of the quality of this game. It's a tragic tale, but it inevitably teaches a lesson. The pacing's great, and the characters it introduces have so much depth and personality to them. Altogether, this questline proves itself to be a shining achievement not only in this game, but the industry as a whole. The ending of the game as well serves as a fitting conclusion, with a fantastic finale that wraps up everything from the past number of hours. The side quests in The Witcher 3 are all of genuine AAA quality too. They never feel bland or tacked on, but they each tell a small story, be it complex or straightforward. The Witcher contracts too are a fantastic conclusion, which, when paired with the environments and great storytelling, make Geralt feel like a genuine Witcher and a really sick character overall, I gotta say. This brings me to one of the best things about this game, the exploration. It's no surprise that the game has a fantastic world filled with monsters and beasts of all kinds to slay. You can enter a cave hoping to find better armor or crafting materials, and leave having solved puzzles, destroyed a creature's colony, and learn that something strange was happening the whole time in the background. You can travel to remote villages never accessed by the main storyline, or forest ruins holding rock monsters and a strange energy. What works with The Witcher 3's map is that it never feels too big, to where things are inaccessible, or too small that everything is jam-packed into a small space. It's the perfect size for a game of its caliber, and it's one of its greatest strengths. The combat is what intrigues most players, right? The Witcher 3's combat introduces so many aspects that all work in its favor. You have a variety of spells to choose from. You have Ard, a forceful blast that can knock down enemies, Yrden, a trap of sorts that slows enemies in its radius, Igni, a blast of fire that deals damage and inflicts burning, Quen, a temporary shield, and Axii, which stuns enemies temporarily, allowing you to hit them with your best shot. The enemies each have their own weaknesses too, that can be exploited using your spells or craftable tonics and oils, making the fight much easier. You can find all of this through your bestiary, one of the coolest mechanics to race this game. You get to read about the monsters and beasts, how they work, and what their strengths and weaknesses are, giving you an idea of how to approach a situation. Similar to something like Monster Hunter, The game encourages you to gather resources and use alchemy systems to give you an upper edge in combat, but it's not required. I spent my first playthrough of the game without once using alchemy willingly and passed through on blood and broken bones with a challenge that never felt too overbearing. I think that's really what The Witcher 3 excels in: choice. Throughout the game, you can always choose to follow the story or explore the ruins nearby. You can choose to spare a werewolf's life or kill him for the damage he's done. You can use alchemy to assist yourself in battle or ignore it altogether. It all depends on how you want to play the game. This idea of choice is even broadened by my next point. The modding community, while not as extensive as something like Skyrim, still proves to be incredibly rich with simple game fixes, lighting mods, and more that only add to the game's lifespan. Modding is constantly evolving for the game, and weekly new mods come out that fundamentally changes the way you play the game. But again, it's all your choice. You can play without mods if you want and still have a perfectly enjoyable experience. Or you can sit down one afternoon and make the game unrecognizable from its former self. These choices are all in your hands. But of course, nothing is perfect, and The Witcher is no exception to this. From issues with your horse getting stuck on the tiniest plank of wood, to Geralt dying instantly after falling 6 feet, the game is far from perfect actually. Its combat systems can at times feel floaty and unsatisfying, and at times the game can become monotonous after traveling between one character to another just to continue dialogue. But I'd argue that these issues are simply overshadowed by everything this game succeeds in. That's not to excuse them altogether, but to point out their significance in the grand scheme of things. Additionally, many problems you might have with the game's simplest mechanics can be altered through the use of mods, which, if you have the time and are willing to put forth the effort, can simply transform your experience. Now that's just the base game. The DLCs, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, each add another monstrous amount of time to the game's overall length, while still maintaining that fantastic quality. While Hearts of Stone tells an intriguing tale of dealing with the devil and the supernatural altogether, Blood and Wine takes a different approach, bringing Geralt to the gorgeous area of Toussaint where he must face vampires and a complex mystery tale. While Blood and Wine is my favorite, I can easily recommend both of these as they are massive expansions to the game and their prices are completely justified. Overall, The Witcher 3 succeeds in so many areas other RPGs fail to succeed in. It has incredible storytelling, intriguing quests, visceral combat, breathtaking graphics, and a world that just begs to be explored. Its flaws exist, but remain insignificant in the light of everything this game succeeds in. It's a masterpiece that will serve as a point of comparison for years, or at least until Cyberpunk comes out. Alright guys, that's all I really have to say for this video. If I missed something or misstated something, feel free to tell me in the comments, and please give me criticism on how I can improve. It's actually my first video, and if you made it this far and enjoyed it, a like would be really appreciated. I honestly didn't realize the amount of time and skill making a video like this takes, and I worked pretty hard on it, so thanks for the support. Oh, also, the soundtrack is banging.